Okay, is there anyone here that's left-handed? Wow. And does anyone know someone who's left-handed? Great. If a person that's left-handed had to use their right hand, how do you think they would do?
Challenging.
Yeah, how do you think they'd feel?
Awkward.
Yeah, they probably struggle, right? Because, I mean, it's not their skilled hand. There's a reason I've selected left-handed people. You see, 10% of the population is left-handed, and 10% of the population has a learning difference. Neurologically, left-handed people are designed to use their left hand, and people that learn differently are designed to think and process information differently. Left-handed people have to fit into a right-handed world, and people with a learning difference have to fit into the world of you have to think and respond this way. But you see, people with learning differences, they think outside the box. They move beyond ordinary connections to extraordinary connections. They can shift perspectives from now to the future, and in some cases offer a solution to the impossible. But this can only happen if we're willing to step outside the box of, well, if you don't read well, then you can't learn well. If you don't write well, your ideas are limited. And at the bottom of the box is, you'll do okay, but that's it. Limits are put on you by others, and even worse, yourself. But if we're willing to step outside this box and see learning differences for what they really are, and allow kids to learn their way, we'll see abilities that we've never seen before. Can I take you down another road now? If you were to think of a child that had a learning difference, how would you view them? Would they be in class struggling to read, write, do math? They might hate school. Their grades are lower? That's pretty typical, right? How you view someone with a learning difference? Okay, what about this child over here? The one that's got their hand up. They want to give the answers. They're really excited about learning, and their grades are good. Would you see that as someone with a learning difference? You see, both those kids could have a learning difference. In fact, that could be the same child over time, or even in the same day, depending on how they're asked to do something and what it is they're asked to do. So how do I know this? How do I become this expert? This is me. Day after day, year after year, Monday to Friday, I had to use my weaknesses to the best of my ability. That led me to believe the only thing I could do was struggle quietly in a world no one, including myself, understood. So I became invisible, hoping that no one would see me. But they did, and they asked me to read and write, and my self-esteem fell every day. The shame, the rejection, the anger that I felt for myself. I dreaded school and pretty much everything in it. Years later, that struggle was still inside of me. Ugh, how could it be there? I had a degree, I was a professional, and I was a parent of 3 kids. But when I figured out what I could do, I also figured out how I could learn. And that world, I thought I would never be in, that academic world. I was there for 7 years. So I'm here today to shift the perspective of learning differences, to take the shame and the pain that comes from misunderstanding and replace it with hope and abilities. I want learning differences to be viewed by abilities. I want adults to speak, see, and think of learning differences in a new way. And I want kids to be empowered by who they are and what they can do. So, as adults, what we need to do is shift from black and white thinking to color, from examination and regurgitation of facts to accepting how kids learn their way without shame. You see, I could have hid behind my professional mask, but I could see the shame and the pain in kids' faces and the behaviors and anger they felt for themselves and to others. I was working with a boy one day, and he was working on a language assignment. He had to read and write. And I could tell he was struggling, and I said, I don't know the answer either. And he looked at me, and I said, what do you want to be? And he told me. And I believe he told me because if I could be there helping him and I didn't know the answer, he could definitely be what he wanted to be. After that, I told the adults that were in his life to support him and not judge his behavior because I knew where he was coming from. And I'll never forget the look when I looked up and he was looking at me. It was a look of wonder and connection. I think he was wondering, where did she come from? And how did she know this invisible part inside of me? And we can't define what a child's able to do because you simply don't have the right. You see, there is many people, great people, that changed the world despite what other people had to say about them. People like Albert Einstein, Winston Churchill, Thomas Edison. They were told that they couldn't learn, but they thought outside the box and they changed the world. Awesome, right? So are we ready to empower kids? Are we ready for a learning revolution where kids have the ability to say, I learn this way, I need to see it, that's my strength. My grammar may develop, maybe, but not as fast as my ideas. I may not have a solution for you right now, but I'll come back with a creative answer. I will succeed in school and life. I am valuable just the way I am. So to do this, adults need to help kids, empower them to understand how they learn and how they can gain skills.